I cut out of old recipe sheets of recipes that I either know by heart or wouldn't make again. Most of them I probably pretty much know. And so I want to go ahead and I've cut these into the shape of tags. Now I want to go a couple of steps further and go ahead and make them into tags that I'd be comfortable putting in my journals. So first of all, they have the thick cardstock feel and they're the glossy side. So I've got out my glue and water, 1 part glue to 2 parts water. And I didn't set up the sander because I don't want to do that inside. It's very cold outside today, so I thought I'd just do a couple where you can see me doing it. And we would take this, just going to rough up the side a little bit, and that way the glue is going to adhere a lot better to the tag. And what I'm going to do is take these outside with a sander, pop all of them for just a second, dust them off, and that way the glossy is now going to hold my glue a lot better. And I thought I'd take my tea bags that I have partially cleaned out, it looks like, and go ahead and put those on the tags and different pieces of paper and really tone those down a little bit and start creating those into something. So I'm going to go ahead and go through that process today. I just put my glue in the water, so let me mix that up just a tad bit. And we're going to start coating this and seeing what we can come up with that is toned down that I can put into my bags. I like to do several of these at a time, and that way I can grab them and then color code them or do whatever it takes to make them really fit the journal, whatever journal I'm working on, much better. So today we're kind of continuing with that prep stage for my junk journals, and I just wet the surface, and then I'm going to thoroughly wet the top of this with that 1 part glue, 2 parts water, and we're going to cover up those words, get it to a nice foundation that we can then put designs, flowers, writing, journaling, whatever we want to do to finish those cards. So we're not making finished tags today. We're just building a foundation that we can grab these in future junk journals and make something out of them. So I just wanted to show you a few of these so you could see the process of how we're building the layers. And if I cover up that hole or get some on the sides, that's okay, because I'm going to come back and repunch because you can still see where that hole is, and go ahead and trim the edges if I need to. And we are just building that foundation on top of our reused upcycle cardstock, mixing up some more glue and water mixture. 1 part glue, 2 parts water, getting that surface lightly coated so it will receive our napkin. And again, if you've seen me do these before, these napkins are usually 2-ply. We go ahead and separate them so that we have the color and yet we are not too thick. It goes on, we put it on in layers and any amount that we want for the texture and the feel and the look of the cards, the tags, the envelopes, the junk journal pages that we're doing. And this one, being the stuffed peppers, I want to cover up the idea of what that recipe is, but not necessarily the colors. Some of the colors showing through I can work with and choose which journal page these would go best with. So again, I'm just trying to shadow, or it's just like taking a piece of see-through fabric or see-through paper and putting on a page so you get that silhouette of that item behind what you're doing. And again, it's okay that we're covering up that hole. We've got a whole bunch. Easy to go ahead and fix that. I think instead of wrapping that one, I want to put that back on top of itself. It's wet enough we can do that. And looks like we need a little bit more thickness going on that one to get that silhouette more hid than what we had. And then when we put our butterflies, our flowers, our journaling on top of it, it'll be just a background hue or color, and it won't pop out as being the main object that the green peppers show through as being right now. So that's kind of nice. You know how words add so much interest to a page, and yet we don't really necessarily want those words to show through because it's a book page. We're just kind of mooting that a little bit the same way that we're doing for these tags. All right, we're going to let that dry. And looks like I've got several more here to do. Looks like this was stuffed steak rolls. Kind of fun to try different things, different recipes in life, different recipes in food, just like we have different recipes for junk journals and creating ephemera. All right, let that dry, put another layer on it. And sometimes these things take time. Just set up your little coffee table in front of the television set. Put on a book on tape. And try this yourself. But again, when you make food in the kitchen, you've got a box. Don't throw that box away. Go ahead. Use it as, if it's thin enough, use it as, cut it up as tags, cut it up as pages in a junk journal, better yet, the cover for the junk journal, if it's stout enough. And you can cover that with different tissue paper, different tea bags, different coffee filters, so that it too can be upcycled, recycled, and you can create something beautiful that nobody is going to believe that it started out as your macaroni and cheese or as your muffin mix. There's a nice tea bag, cover that whole sheet. And yet, you know that you have not put something else into the dump, created a beautiful piece that you'll keep for years, maybe sell, maybe give away. They make great gifts. And you have saved the landfill from getting something. And for those parts we don't use in the junk journal, please, please, please remember to recycle. We like recycling. But this, I guess, is what you call upcycling, because it's staying in my house, creating something that is giving me lots of happiness and pleasure as I create, as well as turning it into art. Grab me a little piece here and cover this up. like how tissue adds the wrinkles, the texture, and really gives it a lot more character than a plain sheet of paper does. So that's always lots of fun for me. And however it tears, however it lays, scrunch it on, add another layer. And again, the more layers you have, might take a few more minutes to dry, and that's okay, because I like to leave my masterpieces overnight to dry and then work on them more the next day. Cover those up. All right, looking good, looking good. What do you did over each one so that the glue and water mixture will adhere. And we're just going to put some tissue paper, some hodgepodge, some different ephemera on top of this to hide the fact that it is a recipe card that we upcycle, recycle, and use for other items. And I just want to get these ready in kind of a mass production so that I can pull them from the pile and use them in my junk journals as I go, and I won't have to create these along the way. So we're just taking some tea bag that we have partially cleaned out, still has some there for some different appeal, and we're covering up the writing, covering up the letters so that we can journal and write on top of these as we go. And again, like I said earlier, we sanded each side of these so that they will hold the glue mixture and won't come right off. After we do this very easily, it'll be a permanent stuck, permanent fixture on these. And as you see, I've made it bigger than the tag, so we're going to take it around the other side, just like we've done before, and we're going to wrap that with the glue mixture, if you can see that, so that we are not wasting, we're not cutting, we're building that base so that we can write over them. And we're going to let these dry. I can use a blow dryer, or I can just lay these in the sun or out to air to dry, and then we're going to do the other sides once they've dried a bit. And I've got lots of things on here, the buttons that we're going to use, different pieces that I can pull from to make these tags. And again, it's just covering them with whatever I have left over from the last project so that we can build that foundation over the words, tone those colors down so we can change those into whatever tag or decoration that fits the junk journal that we're making at the time. And this is some inside a piece of a napkin that we have Kool-Aid stained. That orange Kool-Aid that you saw me do not too long ago. And we're just wrapping those pieces around to the other side, making sure they adhere very well so that they will dry permanent and I won't have to worry about that. And again, this is not the finished piece. This is just building that underlying foundation, changing that used piece of cardstock into something that we can use in our junk journals for a tag. And again, it's upcycling, recycling, not throwing those items away, not buying new cardstock to do these projects, using what we have on hand, because I don't know about you, but I like to play. And so I've got to budget a little bit and reuse, upcycle wherever I can. And we're just spreading that out so it's pretty much only one layer as we go through there. And covering that card up We'll wet it down. Maybe I'm wetting these a slight bit too much, but that's okay. Just a touch bit longer time to dry. And I kind of like the color underneath that. Looks like kind of beef enchiladas for me. Oh my goodness. I don't know about you, but I love my beef enchiladas. And I think I'm feeling like some jalapeno poppers looking at those. I don't know why, but we'll see if I can make some jalapeno poppers maybe this afternoon too. I guess it's just looking at Mexican, making me want it. And a couple layers, adding that texture, mooting that photo underneath it. And let me show you these a little bit closer so you can see how I'm covering those up. And again, I've saturated them pretty well, so we just have to give these time to dry. And then we're going to add some more depth, some more ephemera, mixed media, and create those into some beautiful tags. All right, and we're going to keep going. And again, using sandpaper on the glossy cardstock that we're upcycling, recycling to make these tags. Gives a little bit of bulk, but we sandpapered down the glossy so the different items that we glue to it stick very well. And we like the wrinkles. They give lots of added texture and color. But I also want to make sure that all the air bubbles are out, because the air bubbles give it an opportunity to break or rip. So we're just trying to get most of those out of the tag when we do that. And it looks like I'm going to have to move these over a little bit so I have more room for them to dry. I know it's freezing outside, but might even put them outside to dry. See if that does it a little bit quicker. Doesn't look like we have any wind today. I was thinking about doing this video outside and showing you my winter wonderland, but all of the snow has melted and it's just cold, very, very cold. It was in the 20s this morning. So again, that's why we're inside doing a little bit of adding some different textural feels, covering up what we have on the cards, so that we can make these tags come alive and be beautiful in our junk journals. And this one's taking a little bit longer, but I'm putting a couple layers on there so you can see that. And just got to get that thoroughly wet, get the air bubbles out, tuck it around the sides. So that's going to hold it down. Looks like more of the same page, beef enchiladas. And I hope you're journaling along with me this morning. All right, let's set that up to dry.